What is up, guys? I'm back again with another video, and today, this one is about another Game Informer release of information about the Taken King. They had a couple reporters, not really reporters, journalists, I guess you could say, go in. They've played hundreds of hours in the game already, and they know what it's all about. From Game Informer, go and take a look, and Bungie let them play a lot of the game, and they actually surprised by how much they let them play. So obviously there'll be a link in the description to this whole Game Informer article that came out yesterday. And I'm just gonna go over all the highlights and all the new stuff that we haven't, heard about or we don't know yet, and some old stuff, just kind of going over it again. So let's get started. Okay, I talked about better integrated story, and there actually is one this time. There actually is a good story. It's not very short, and it's actually good. How do I want to say this? Like you're more involved in the story rather than there's just real simple dialogue. So your character actually engages in conversation through the story now, and all the vendors in the tower and other other NPCs like that actually have parts in the story now. Like Cayde 6 and Eris have much more of a personality in the Taken King, much more than they did before, and they you actually do quests for them and little missions for them, and it's fun. Here's a quote directly from what one of the journalists said. If you feel like, oh no, you feel like you're the tip of the spear. You killed Crota and you breached the Vault of Glass. He later says the Vanguard calls on you first to explore the Dreadnought because, well, you killed Crota and you got in the Vault of Glass and killed Atheon. So obviously they're gonna want to talk to you first. Oh, and they said it's cool when you go to the Dreadnought because you're the one laying down the patrol beacons for Guardians that will come after you. So that's pretty cool. They talked about the new leveling. Even now it's not all about light level. Getting drops. You just get up with XP. They said that getting gear is still the main purpose to play and do raids and all that because there's much more of a variety in gear. There's more than there was in year one in base Destiny. There's just so much more different weapons and different gear that you can get. It's still the main thing to get, and with the new loot system that kind of remembers what you've gotten and what you haven't gotten and tries to give you something that you don't have, but still you're not always going to get what you want because that would be boring. So that's really good too. So obviously there is going to be more gear than there was in base Destiny, but they said that in the first story mission they were getting green gear that was green weapons that were better than their best raid gear from year one. So right off the bat, you're getting green stuff that's better than what you already have. Your legendaries from year one. So that increase in level and just attack and defense on the values of everything is amazing. Which I already talked about the loot table. And they said the missions where you get your new subclass is just super fun because they kind of increase the charge rate on your or reduce the charge rate, but increase how quickly you get your super. So that way, in that first mission that you do have it, you can just go all out, having fun with it, experiencing it, and just it's a blast. Then they talked about the Dreadnought. They said it's full of compact fighting areas and awesome platforming areas, challenging platform areas and puzzles. Because you can't take your Sparrow through there because it's like a giant ship in space. But it said it's just an awesome place to be in to patrol, and something that they they say we didn't know yet is there's 50 pieces of an exotic scattered throughout the Dreadnought, and you have to find them to be able to get it. 50 pieces? That's pretty cool, and that's gonna be fun to go look and try to find that. And more than just Taken and Hive around that ship, there's like Cabal and other enemies just trying to fight Oryx forces as well. So cool. There's also all kinds of quests to do that don't even unlock until you get to level 40. Because once you beat the initial story, you unlock the Taken War, which is, I don't know if it's really another story, but it's just another thing to do after you beat the initial story. And there's all kinds of quests to unlock after that. And aside from leveling your gear, there each piece of gear has like a light level to it, and that's not like, you know, what we had in the past, those light levels. It's more of like it starts at level 1, and you can rank it up to more levels or sacrifice other gear to rank it up, and it kind of helps you gauge if that gear is ready for this raid or this strike. I don't know how they're gonna show that, if there's like gonna be a recommended light level for your gear uh, when you try to queue it up. That would be pretty cool. So your gear has its own leveling aside from your character's leveling. Intellect, discipline, and strength now have second values rather than percentage values, which didn't really make sense before. And you can upgrade those through tiers, and you can be able to see how beneficial that is for upgrading it through those tiers to how many seconds it takes, to recharge your melee, your super, or your grenade. And there's all kinds of different ghost shells that have their own perks on them to boost your gear. Like some that'll, and you can't, select every perk. It's like you want this ghost shell to increase your intellect or your discipline or do this. It wasn't really super clear, but it'll just boost your gear, and said something about increasing the light level on your gear, which I already talked about. So that's pretty sweet. Faction allegiance now is going to be a thing, so that you don't have to wear a class item for that faction. So you can wear whatever cloak or Titan bond, I think they're called. I don't even know, man. And or Warlock bond. You can wear whatever one you want and not have to wear the one for that faction. There's also kiosks and emblems for shaders that we already know about, and apparently it shows you not only all the shaders you have, but not all, but I don't know, but it shows you ones you don't have, and it'll show you what you have to do to get that shader. So like, oh man, that one looks really cool. What I gotta do to get that? Well, here's what you gotta do. Now you can go do it. Go get it. So that's sweet. And they said all the Banshee Arms Day stuff, where he'll give you weapons, and you can go do a quest for him to get those weapons, or to level up in him so that you can purchase a weapon for Arms Day that you'll get on Arms Day. So that's really cool. So I'm looking forward to that. We already know that legendary marks are things. So Vanguard marks, corrosive marks. They're just all together legendary marks. That's sweet. Armor materials are all for each class. There isn't class-specific materials, and apparently you can exchange those materials. Like if you want to exchange your plasteel plating, you can go do that and get armor materials. So that way you don't have to get specifically plasteel plating for your Titan. You can go and get armor materials on your Warlock and give them to your Titan to upgrade his gear. So that's sweet. Oh, an interesting thing I said about Xur is when they played, Xur had this thing called 3 of Coins that boosted your chance of an exotic drop at your next boss fight. So that's pretty. I'd be buying that every time Xur is there, or a couple of them every time Xur is there, unless it's on a timer. I don't know. And then they got into a big thing about the strikes. So the strikes are just awesome. They're more raid-like, rather than fighting bullet spongy bosses like Fallout Ark. There's more teamwork required and different encounters and dialogue every time you play it. There's like 2 or 3 different dialogues or 2 or 3 different encounters for each part of the strike, and you don't know which one's going to happen. It's random, so it's a different experience every time. So there'll be better replayability for the strikes. It'll be more fun overall. And they talked about a strike they did on Venus where they had to go fight this mind or whatever, and it had like a rotating shield that would move you from cover, but you had to duck under cover because he shoots these giant energy balls that really hurt. And one of your teammates had to carry this relic type thing that he had to do something with it so that you could actually damage the boss. But that is only a PlayStation exclusive, so sorry for Xbox people, me. We'll get that one eventually. And then I talked about another strike where you had to go fight Alec Hull, the Darkblade that we saw in another Game Informer article. Apparently, back in the day, or sometime when he led a civil war against Oryx, and it didn't work out, he got imprisoned, and now you gotta go fight him because he poses a threat to you. So that's a cool strike. There's 3 new strike playlists, one called Legacy, which is all the old strikes from Vanilla Destiny and from the 2 DLCs. There's Ursa, which is just a bunch of weekly heroics that you do. You can get legendary marks, legendary engrams. And then there's Marmoset, which if you don't know is like a monkey. And that's all of the new strikes from Taken King that you can do. So a bunch of different bunch of different strikes and different playlists. It's pretty sweet. And they're having new handcrafted modifiers each week for the Nightfalls to make them more fun. They're already fun enough, I'd say. Then they got into Crucible. They said they play all 8 maps and they're all very fun. Zone control is very team oriented because kills don't matter. It's all about controlling the zones, which makes it very fun. Mayhem is all out chaos and it's just a blast. They said it's very infuriating sometimes. It's not something you could probably play all day, but still fun. The point total is they said it was 110,000 to win because everything's cranked up to 11. So the kill, point modifier and everything's just way up. So games still are kind of fast, but still very fun. So much fun. Then they talked about Rift. I said Rift is very much like capture the flag, except there's one flag in the middle, and your team has to go get it and move it forward to the other team's Rift. And it changes very on whether the other team gets it. You got to play defense, or you get it. You got to play offense. And then I lost my spot here. And you get points just for bringing the ball forward. So, that sounds like a very fun game type to me. It's very team-based and looks like a lot of fun. And then there's also a lot of bounties for Crucible. Like there's Crucible quests that involve the Crucible vendors. So there's actually a real point to playing Crucible there for you story mode players or PvE players. There's bounties. There's weekly bounties that pose big rewards for completing them, or possibly big rewards. There's Trials of Osiris bounties. There's class-specific bounties and Fireteam bounties you got to do with friends, or you can do with friends, whatever. That just sounds like a lot of fun for Crucible right there. And then they tried to talk about the raid, but they really weren't given much info, and I don't think they were allowed to play it. So that's good. It poses just so much possibilities for the raid, because I've been working really hard on it with not having a raid in House of Wolves. There's a lot that they've been doing for this raid to make sure it's really good. They say it's their biggest one yet, and it's coming out really good. It sounds like. I'm honestly really pumped for that. Not knowing anything, going in blind, sounds like a lot of fun. The last thing to talk about is if it's really worth it to get Taken King, but with all the content that's coming, I think it's well more than worth the $40. So I think you should get it. And that's everything I said in the article. So I just highlighted it. Again, if you want to go over everything and read it all, it's a very big article. And you can look in the description below for the link. But that's everything. So there'll be more news today from what I've heard. So look forward to that. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.